In a world that often celebrates productivity over peace, it's easy to forget the importance of being kind to ourselves. We live in a fast-paced society that often demands more from us than we can give, and in striving to meet these expectations, self-compassion often falls by the wayside. Many of us are quick to offer support, understanding, and encouragement to those we care about, yet we often struggle to show ourselves the same grace. Imagine for a moment what life might look like if we treated ourselves with the same patience and empathy we offer to others. How might our inner lives transform if, instead of being our harshest critics, we became our own advocates? Self-compassion isn't about ignoring mistakes or dismissing responsibilities, it's about creating a balanced relationship with ourselves, one where growth is rooted in understanding rather than judgment. Learning to be compassionate with ourselves opens a new path, one that leads to resilience, peace, and even joy. Throughout this story, we'll explore 8 gentle but transformative lessons in self-compassion, each one designed to guide us toward a kinder and more understanding relationship with ourselves. These lessons aren't about perfection but rather about embracing our imperfections and meeting life's ups and downs with a compassionate heart. As we journey together through these practices, consider how each one could add depth and warmth to your daily life, inviting moments of kindness that can bring lasting change. Chapter 1: Understanding Self-Compassion. When you pause for a moment to think about how you treat yourself, you might realize just how deeply the inner critic has rooted itself within. We speak to ourselves in ways we'd never dare speak to others, often brushing off our own pains and needs in favor of endless demands and self-judgments. But at the heart of self-compassion lies a powerful truth: you deserve the same understanding, patience, and kindness that you offer so freely to others. Self-compassion is, at its essence, a willingness to befriend yourself. Imagine how differently your day would unfold if, instead of mentally chastising yourself for every little mistake, you offered the same comfort you'd give a friend. Think of a moment when a friend shared a worry or self-doubt. Perhaps you encouraged them, reminded them of their strengths, or simply listened without judgment. Now imagine applying that warmth, that non-judgmental acceptance, to your own heart. This isn't about letting yourself off the hook for mistakes. Self-compassion invites accountability, but it's a gentler form, one that says, "I can do better," rather than, "I should have been better." It involves recognizing that everyone makes mistakes and that missteps are not markers of inadequacy but simply part of the human journey. Self-compassion encourages you to be both honest with yourself and kind, understanding that growth doesn't come from self-criticism but from a balanced approach where you acknowledge your missteps and allow yourself space to grow. Start by noticing when that inner critic arises. Often, it comes up with phrases like, "I should have known better," or "Why am I like this?" Instead, try to rephrase these thoughts. You might say, "I did my best with the information I had," or "I'm learning and improving each day." Speak to yourself as you would to someone you love. Gradually, you'll find that these small adjustments can begin to soften the inner narrative, turning it into one of empathy, acceptance, and understanding. Chapter 2: Embracing Imperfections. One of the greatest obstacles to self-compassion is the persistent belief that we must be flawless. Our culture celebrates perfection, rarely showcasing the beauty of vulnerability and authenticity. We often hide our struggles, imperfections, and uncertainties, fearing judgment from others, and from ourselves. Yet embracing self-compassion requires acknowledging that flaws are not just acceptable, they're natural. Consider this: there is something profoundly beautiful about being fully human, about having scars, quirks, and soft spots. Imagine you're an artist looking at a piece of weathered wood. The knots, the irregular grain, and the color variations only enhance its charm. That's how we might begin to see ourselves, not as flawed, but as unique. When you're hard on yourself, take a moment to reflect on why. Is it because you believe that only perfection is worthy of love? Self-compassion invites you to release this belief and accept yourself as a complex and evolving human being. You can still strive for growth and improvement, but from a place of love rather than a sense of inadequacy. Practice looking at your imperfections with kindness. Perhaps start by acknowledging one small thing you appreciate about yourself each day, even if it's as simple as your ability to try again after failing or your courage to show up even when things feel hard. These little moments of acceptance can be transformative, gradually helping you see that imperfections are what make you real, relatable, and beautifully human. Chapter 3: Offering Yourself Kindness in Times of Pain. When life becomes challenging, our instinct is often to toughen up, to push through, to pretend we're not affected by hardships. Yet these are the moments when we most need to embrace ourselves with compassion. It's okay to acknowledge pain, to say, "This is hard for me," without feeling weak or less capable. Imagine you're walking through a dense forest on a cold, rainy day. You're soaked and exhausted, your feet ache, and your hands are numb. In this situation, would you urge yourself to keep marching forward, or would you pause, find a dry spot, and allow yourself a moment of rest? Self-compassion in times of pain is like finding that dry spot. It's allowing yourself the space to breathe, to be with your emotions, without feeling pressured to fix everything immediately. When you're going through something painful, remind yourself that your pain is valid. Rather than diminishing your experience, honor it. You might say to yourself, "I'm struggling right now, and that's okay. I deserve care." These words may feel foreign at first, but over time, they become a powerful mantra. Giving yourself permission to feel allows you to process emotions rather than suppressing them, fostering resilience and emotional clarity. If you're comfortable, try a simple practice. Place a hand over your heart, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you are worthy of your own kindness. Notice how this gentle gesture can calm the storm within, even if only momentarily, and provide you with the space to heal. Chapter 4: Letting Go of Comparisons. One of the most common barriers to self-compassion is the habit of comparing ourselves to others. It's all too easy to scroll through social media and feel like everyone else is leading a perfect life, achieving more, or handling their challenges better than we are. But comparison, especially in the age of curated online personas, is a thief of joy. Self-compassion invites you to redirect your energy. Instead of focusing on where you fall short compared to others, look at how far you've come on your own path. Comparison can be reimagined as a practice of gratitude. What strengths have carried you through challenges? What unique qualities make you who you are? Instead of comparing, celebrate your journey. Remember, you are not meant to live anyone else's life but your own. Each person has their own story, their own struggles, and their own timeline. When you find yourself drawn into comparison, gently remind yourself that everyone is doing the best they can, including you. You're not less worthy because your journey looks different. Self-compassion teaches us that there is no one right way to live, there is only the path that aligns with your heart and values. Try this: the next time you catch yourself in comparison, take a deep breath and shift your focus. Acknowledge something you're grateful for in your own life, or a quality you admire in yourself. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to remain grounded in your own journey, creating a sense of peace that doesn't rely on measuring up to anyone else. Chapter 5: Building a Foundation of Self-Care. Self-compassion and self-care go hand in hand. In a world that often equates productivity with self-worth, self-care is sometimes dismissed as indulgent. But self-care is not about treating yourself to luxuries, it's about meeting your needs with consistency, kindness, and respect. Building a foundation of self-care means tuning into what you genuinely need. Maybe it's rest, maybe it's time in nature, or perhaps it's connecting with loved ones. Self-compassion helps you recognize that you are worthy of care simply because you exist, not because of what you achieve. Consider creating a self-care routine that nourishes you, especially in moments of stress or exhaustion. This can be as simple as taking a few moments each day to check in with yourself, asking, "What do I need right now?" and giving yourself permission to honor that need without guilt. This journey isn't about doing everything perfectly, it's about finding small ways to prioritize your well-being. Self-compassion invites you to view self-care as an essential part of a balanced life, allowing you to be the best version of yourself. Over time, this mindset becomes an internal source of strength, resilience, and joy, a gentle reminder that you are your own best ally, always deserving of the kindness you so freely give others. Chapter 6: Accepting the Full Range of Emotions. In the pursuit of happiness and peace, there's a tendency to label emotions as good or bad, sometimes even trying to avoid or suppress the ones that feel uncomfortable. Yet, self-compassion invites us to view emotions differently, to see each one as a valid and necessary part of the human experience. Just as the sky holds both sun and storm, our inner landscape must allow space for all emotions without judgment. When sadness, anger, or frustration arise, try seeing these emotions as signals, not threats. Imagine them as visitors knocking on your door. You may not always want their company, but they arrive for a reason. Sadness can remind you of what matters most, anger can uncover your boundaries, frustration may point to areas needing change. Instead of turning away from these feelings, sit with them. As you do, remind yourself that it's okay to feel this way. This acceptance doesn't mean giving negative emotions power over you, rather, it means acknowledging them as temporary. Emotions, like waves, rise and fall. By allowing them to surface without resistance, you grant yourself the freedom to feel without the added weight of shame or guilt. This practice of embracing emotions brings a kind of peace, teaching you to meet each moment with gentle acceptance. The more you practice this, the more you create a safe, compassionate space within yourself where all emotions are welcomed, understood, and honored. Chapter 7: Practicing Forgiveness Towards Yourself. Self-forgiveness is one of the most challenging yet freeing acts of self-compassion. Mistakes and regrets often become burdens we carry, reliving moments of past disappointment or failure. But what if each of these experiences held a lesson rather than a lifelong sentence? Forgiveness towards oneself is an invitation to recognize that you are not your mistakes. It's about honoring your ability to grow and change. Imagine each mistake as a stone. When you hold on to it, the weight accumulates, creating a burden that slows your journey. But in choosing to release it, you allow yourself to move forward with greater ease. Self-forgiveness is not about erasing the past but transforming it into a stepping stone towards self-understanding. Whenever regret arises, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I am human, and I am learning. Reflect on what you have learned from that experience, recognizing how it may have shaped you for the better. Practicing forgiveness towards yourself allows room for growth, resilience, and renewed hope. It's a process that takes time and patience, but each act of forgiveness is a step toward deeper self-compassion. Chapter 8: Cultivating Gratitude for Small Victories. In the rush of daily life, we often overlook our own achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Yet each day brings moments worthy of appreciation, like completing a challenging task, supporting a friend, or simply finding the strength to begin again. Self-compassionate gratitude is the practice of recognizing these moments, however humble, and honoring them as meaningful contributions to your growth and well-being. Gratitude in this context isn't about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, it's about creating a balanced perspective where you acknowledge both challenges and victories. Take time each evening to reflect on at least one thing you're grateful for. Perhaps it was a moment of courage, an effort made despite the odds, or even a small act of self-care. Recognizing these moments nurtures self-appreciation and strengthens your sense of self-worth. With time, this habit can shift your inner narrative. Instead of focusing on what you lack or where you fall short, you'll start seeing the fullness of your efforts and qualities. Self-compassionate gratitude becomes a wellspring of encouragement, reminding you daily of the strengths you possess and the progress you continue to make, however incremental it may feel. Chapter 9: Embracing Rest and Setting Boundaries. Modern life often equates productivity with worthiness, making it easy to feel guilty for resting or setting boundaries. But self-compassion means honoring your limits and recognizing that rest is not only necessary but an essential part of self-care. Rest replenishes your energy, and boundaries protect it, ensuring you have the resources to live fully and authentically. Imagine you're a garden, needing sunlight, water, and care to thrive. If you give endlessly without pause, you eventually deplete yourself. Just as plants need time to absorb nutrients, so do we need time to recharge. Embracing rest and boundaries allows you to protect your well-being and meet your needs without guilt. Set boundaries with love for yourself. Whether it's limiting social media, saying no when necessary, or taking a break when feeling overwhelmed, these choices honor your energy. Remind yourself that you don't have to justify the need to rest. Instead, affirm that you're worthy of care, and that taking time for yourself strengthens your ability to give, create, and connect authentically. Chapter 10: Building a Self-Compassionate Routine. Creating a self-compassionate routine brings structure to your journey, reminding you daily that you're worthy of care and kindness. This doesn't mean implementing rigid habits, but rather infusing your day with simple acts that center your well-being. Whether it's starting the day with a moment of calm, journaling your thoughts, or taking mindful breaks, each small act can nurture a sense of peace within. Think of self-compassion as a garden you tend to every day. Some days, it may need more attention, and others, it might flourish with ease. A simple routine can serve as a foundation, anchoring you even in difficult times. Start with something achievable, like setting an intention each morning or ending the day with a few moments of gratitude. Over time, these practices build resilience, grounding you in the knowledge that you are cared for. Remember, there's no rush. Self-compassion isn't about perfect habits or constant positivity, it's about gentle, consistent care. Every small act reinforces your belief in your own worth, creating a foundation that can weather life's challenges. In time, this routine becomes a sacred part of your day, a reminder that you are deserving of love and respect, today and always. Conclusion: embracing self-compassion as a lifelong journey. As we reach the end of this journey, it's clear that self-compassion is not a destination but an ongoing practice, a way of living that nurtures inner peace and resilience. Along the way, there will be moments of strength and vulnerability, of growth and reflection. Self-compassion is about learning to be patient with yourself, to honor each step, and to recognize that every moment of kindness you offer yourself brings you closer to a deeper sense of wholeness. In every chapter, you've been invited to explore a new facet of self-compassion, from accepting emotions, forgiving yourself, and celebrating small victories, to setting boundaries and building a compassionate routine. Each lesson is like a stone on a path, guiding you to become not just kinder but also more understanding of yourself. As you continue forward, remember that self-compassion will evolve with you. There will be days when it feels natural and others when it's harder to practice. But each attempt is a step closer to becoming your own ally. With time, self-compassion becomes less of a practice and more of a way of being, a quiet, steadfast support that accompanies you in every part of life. In choosing self-compassion, you choose to honor the beautiful, imperfect journey that is uniquely yours.